So in yesterday's session we discussed about qualifiers and how many qualifiers we have, right? And the other point we discussed about how many segments we can create in chart of accounts. What are the mandatory segments we have to define in the chart of accounts to use that? And other point we discussed 5 type of accounts we have, and another one is 2 type of flex fields we have. Those are key flex fields and descriptive. And the basic level of understanding, just for basic level of understanding, we discussed about only GL related. So what is the purpose of a key flex field? To capture key information of the organization. The best example is chart of accounts information. Okay, key flex field is specific to application, whereas descriptive flex field is specific to form. If you just have a descriptive, that will be very specific to form. In that form, other than the fields what Oracle is providing, you can use the descriptive flex field to capture additional information without writing any programming. So it's all about, so finally the flex field means it's a flexible field which allows us to enter the key or optional or descriptive information within the application environment without writing any programming. When you are working in real time, the client will be asking something else. For that, you may just create new form. That means you are trying to capture more information apart from what Oracle given as a functionality. In that case, you are writing programming. Those fields we don't call it as flex fields. We call flex field. Flex fields means the fields which allows us to enter some data which is a key or optional information without writing any programming. For that, we have a logic in the system to capture that kind of information as a descriptive flex fields and a key flex field. So how many fields of data you want to capture, that you can define within the key or descriptive flex field, that we'll see in the further sessions. Anyway, now we are going to create the chart of accounts within the accounting key flex field. Now you can understand how to do it. Okay. So if you have any doubt on yesterday's session, you can ask me. Otherwise, you can jump into system practice. Okay. We can start with the defining the chart of accounts in the system environment. Okay, no queries? Yeah, please. Please. Okay, yeah. No, I'm not asking this. Just I'll do that. Okay, I'm sorry. So it's not connected. Fine. No doubts I'm asking. Any doubt?
So actually we have the minimum segments at 2.
2 minimum, yes.
There is a company or account.
Company or account, not company and account. Yeah.
But also balancing segment and also natural accounting segment, the 2 segments are important, mandatory.
That means you didn't understand. I can get the answer. What is your answer for that question? He's asking mandatory segments are 2, company and account. Other side is saying the same time balancing and natural account segments also mandatory. How these 4 can be managed is asking. Same. The company, if you assign balancing, that will become balancing segment. Instead of calling as company, you call it as balancing segment, because you are assigning the balancing segment flex field qualifier. For account, you are assigning natural account segment flex field qualifier. That is the reason that we are calling as natural account. Finally, instead of calling company and account, we are calling with the qualifiers name, which qualifiers we are assigning to the segments. Okay, segments. That's all. So why we have to assign the details will be getting in the further classes. Okay, done. So now what we can do is, okay, we connect to the server. So username is operations, password is welcome. Okay. Second, what I'll do is this file I'll copy into this remote desktop. There is some issue with this sheet file. We'll access from there on. Okay. So now go to GL responsibility. So name is General Ledger Vision Operations USA. Click on that. Expand this submenu and click on any one of the function. Now take the task name. Say create chart of accounts. Create chart of accounts. Okay, to create the chart of accounts, we have to perform multiple subtasks. Okay, chart of account creation you can take as one task. Okay, to complete the definition of chart of accounts, we have to perform multiple subtasks. Okay, we'll see what are those. Okay, to create the chart of accounts, what are the different subtasks we have to perform? See, first what we have to do is say create, you can call as organization structure we discussed, right? The organization structure only you can call as chart of account structure also. Yeah. Okay, so create chart of accounts structure. This is the first task. The next second task is once you create the structure, we have to create the segments. So create segments. Okay, in our discussion we discussed we'll create the structure. Within the structure we'll create the segments. Under segments we'll maintain the segment values. Yes, we will maintain always under segment only segment values. But the point here is the system point of view, if you want to maintain segment values under segment, what we have to do is we have to create the value set. The simple point, I have segment called as company. For company we have to maintain the company segment values, right? Directly you cannot maintain the company segment values under company segment. You can maintain the segment values for any segment with the help of value set. Value set means value set will be holding the values. Which values will maintain in those values. Those can be company values or department account. That means for each segment we have to maintain the respective segment values, right? To maintain the segment values separately for each and every segment, what we have to do is we have to create the value set. How many value sets? How many? Yeah, that's all. How many segments we have, those many value sets we have to create. For company we'll create one value set, department one value set, location, account, etc. What are the segments we are going to take here within the chart of account for our testing, those many value sets we have to create. Clear, right? So without value set concept, you cannot maintain the segment values for any segment. That's all. Now we have to say create value sets. Okay, we'll create the value sets. After creating the value sets, what we have to do is which value set we created for which segment. To respective segment, we have to assign. Okay, we'll create 4 or 5, but which value set for which segment we have to assign. We have to do the mapping. Say assign value set, okay, to segments. Assign value sets to segments. What we can assign to segments? Now just now we discussed value sets. I am not asking that, you can answer. Other than this, what we can assign, already we discussed. who are just reading note and who are spending time, who are focusing, they can answer. Again, these are not great questions. Okay, what else we can assign to segments other than value sets? Value sets now we are discussing. If you are very sure, tell me, otherwise your answer is not required. What we can assign to segment other than value set? What else we can assign? Yesterday we discussed. We have to be ready with yesterday's session. If we're done with yesterday, in the sense we should be ready by today. Flex field qualifiers, right? The same point right here. Assign flex field qualifiers to segments. Which qualifiers to which segment when we are doing, we'll discuss at detail level. You know already, right? Two are mandatory. Balancing to company, natural account to account segment. That's all. The same we'll be doing. There are other qualifiers also we'll be discussing when we are doing the system setup. Done. After doing this, what we'll do is we'll freeze. You can say freeze chart of accounts structure and compile. We'll discuss about it detail when you are working as a how many steps are involved to create the chart of accounts. I'm trying to give you the list. That's all. We'll freeze our chart of account structure and we'll compile it. There is some reason why we do that. We'll discuss. Done. So if you are coming at 10:35, you may not understand the class. Okay, fine, done. Okay, next. We'll discuss. That's what I'm telling. Now I'm not going to tell you detail level. A few things you know, right? Already we discussed. You can understand. Whatever you are finding as a new points, those I'll be explaining definitely. Okay. Compile in the sense validation. We'll discuss why we have to do that. Okay. Then finally we'll create the segment values. If you complete all these tasks, your chart of accounts will be ready to use at the time of, you can take this chart of accounts for the primary ledger definition. Okay, you can use it later. Okay, to create or to record the transactions. This is how we have to create the chart of accounts. This is a sequence we have to follow. Okay, sometimes what we can do is before we create the segments, we create the value sets, but it's not mandatory. After creating the segments also you can create it. Okay, there's no like standard rule which says you should create first segments or later value sets and all. But general practice, you just simply you can create the segments, then you can create value sets. Okay, done. Clear, right? Now take the navigation to create the chart of accounts. So again, you don't need to take application name. This task also we are going to perform within the GL only. Within the GL we can perform all this. Okay. So navigation, setup, financials, setup, financials, flex fields. There are two type of flex fields, right? In which flex fields we can create this chart of accounts? Key flex field. Don't say accounting key flex field. In which category I am asking? Yes, key flex field. Again within the key, accounting key flex field. That's it. So set up financials, flex fields. Within the flex field you have to select key or descriptive? Key, because we are going to create chart of accounts. Yeah, key information, right? Key. So here you see functions like segments, values. You don't see something like structure. Okay, you have to take the navigation with these segments only. With the same navigation you can give the structure name, then you can create the segments. Okay, that's how it works. Okay, fine. This is navigation, just make a note. Setup, financials, flex fields, key, segments. Another point is always you should remember all these navigations. Okay, it's not like it will be those will be in your note. You should remember. Set up financial flex fields, key segments. Done. Just double click. Okay. We are going to create what? Chart of account. Chart of accounts we can create in application, not which key flex field? Accounting key flex field. Simple point. So chart of accounts we can create in by using the accounting key flex field. The accounting key flex field is part of which application? Come on, application means key what? GL. Okay, reverse way. GL we have application called GL. Within that we have key flex fields. Within that key flex field we have key flex field called as accounting key flex field. Within that we can create the chart of account. Now again and again you want to discuss about we have a key flex field. Simply you can say that we can go ahead with the name of the key flex field. GL we have accounting key flex field. By using that we can create the chart of accounts. If you want to create the chart of account, first you have to go to GL, right? You have to select GL. Within the GL you have to select accounting key flex field. Okay, within that you can create the chart of accounts. Yes, we have a key flex field, but here separately you don't need to go and select key. Reason we take in the navigation with the key only, right? We are taking the navigation through key. Set up financial flex field key will be just locating in the key flex field related area only. Within that, what are the key flex field we have that we can select? Okay. So first what we have to do? We have to select application as general ledger. Within that application, which key flex field we have to select? Accounting key flex field. Then we can start creating our chart of account structure and rest of things. Okay, done. Fine. Okay, fine. 1 second. Something network went down. Just give me 1 second. Wait a second. Yep, done. Good. Again we'll reconnect. Okay, now first you have to select application as general ledger. You know how to find any field data if you want to find. Simply you can click on find, right? Click on find. We need general ledger application, right? Just type G. It will filter what are the application starts with the G. So we have only general ledger. In general ledger, by using which key flex field we can create the chart of accounts? Do you have that combination? Yes, the first one, general ledger accounting flex field. The actual name is general ledger accounting key flex field, but display name they are giving as accounting flex field. You should understand that as accounting key flex field. Okay, that's it. The display name you can see as a accounting flex field, but actual name is accounting key flex field. So select this combination. Application general ledger, title is accounting flex field, then say OK. Take all the points, please. General ledger accounting flex field. Okay, this combination we have to select, then say OK. Okay, any doubt or confusion, please? Simple, just click on find. Just search for application called general ledger. Once you find with general ledger application related or this records, within that you can find the combination as general ledger under title. Title is nothing but key flex field title. Key flex field title. The key flex field title is accounting flex field. Say OK. So now see here, system selected application as general ledger and flex field title. Nothing but key flex field title is key flex field name is accounting flex field. So within this we can create the chart of accounts, right? See here, you see the title, structures. These all are the structures, nothing but these all are the chart of account structures. So many are there. But when you are working in real time, you don't see single structure also. It will be blank, empty. Whatever you create, that will be the first one. But which instance we are using now? Vision instance. Okay, so in a vision instance we'll be finding sample data. Okay, within the sample data, chart of accounts data also will be finding. Again, the same instance we are using, or people are using for their practice. That is the reason you'll be finding the many structures here. Okay, so that is the reason you can see many chart of account structures here. Okay, anyway, those are there. We are not going to touch, we are not going to open and see how those are created, because we know how to create. We'll go ahead with that. Okay, so now first what we have to do, we have to create our own chart of account structure. To create our own chart of account structure, what we can just place cursor in any one of the field, structure code, or anywhere. Just you can keep cursor in any record, and now we need new record space to create our chart of account structure, right? So for that, what we can do is place cursor anywhere here. Okay, you can select any one of the record. Here we have a new. If you click on this new, it will be opening one more record space so that we can create our chart of account structure. So simple. So place cursor here and click on new icon. It's nothing but add icon. Just click on this. See, it is opening new record space. If any new record space, if you want to close without entering the data, what we have to do? F6. F6 we discussed. It will close. So this is the one way we can open the record here. Other option is place cursor here, use control down arrow, hold control and tap down arrow, then you will get same new record space to create the new chart of account structure. Clear, right? So I'm just closing this by using F6. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create the new chart of account structure. I'll just place the cursor here, click on new. Okay, now here first, what is the field? Code, then title, description, view name. So structure code, generally system point of, if you see something as a code, that generally that recommendation is you should go with uppercase. And again here, when you are creating the structure for your chart of accounts, okay, structure for organization chart of accounts, Oracle recommends don't give any space when you are writing the name. Don't give any space when you are writing the name. The reason is, let me just write it, I'll explain it. Okay, so what we can take here, we are using the name as HCL, right? So HCL, I want to write the name as, here we have a few generic practices which generally will be using. So I'll write here. So generally the structures and all will be writing like this. These are the different options. So you can write the name as some generally HCL, sorry, accounting flex field. You can write the name like this, HCL accounting flex field. This is your organization structure name. This is how you can write, or else you can write HCL organization structure, HCL chart of accounts. This is writing like HCL chart of accounts. It's a very poor practice. It's not like that much detail level. You should not write. You should write very high level in terms of application term or business term. Okay, so simple here, based on application, generally this is the name we'll be writing when we are doing the implementation. If somebody is going to write like this, it's not wrong. And if somebody is going to write like HCL chart of accounts, that is also not wrong. Anything you can give that should give some meaning when we see that it should fulfill the purpose what we are defining with the naming. Okay, accordingly we have to take, but the general practice we see will create like this. You can create HCL accounting flex field, or else you may just, in short, you can say HCL flex. Flex means flex field. Okay, that's what this is what we have to understand. Okay, now we'll go ahead with this name. Okay, we'll use HCL accounting flex field. This is the naming convention we are going to give to what are the structure we are creating. Now when we are creating the code, the recommendation is use all in the uppercase, but don't go with the space. See here, I'm going to take HCL accounting flex field. Who can read it? No one, right? So that is the reason what happened. What we have to do is we have to keep underscore so that okay there won't be any space, but for to when you are trying to read it easily you can read, since there is a space won't disturb any naming whatever you are taking. That's all. HCL accounting flex. We given the name. Once you tab out, the same name system is copying as a title. Title is nothing but structure name. Same. This is structure code. This is a structure name. So system will be copying the same name as it is into title, but you should not take the title. You have to write in the actual format how generally will be using. Okay, how generally will be following the format of writing the any test. So here we'll write the name as HCL accounting FlexFit. Done. So description is optional. If you want to write, you can write description, or else you can ignore. I'm writing HCL or accounting flex for India. Okay, view name. View name is a database concept. Once we save this data will be stored. The structure will be stored in the database tables. What are the data you have in the table? If you want to see through view, the view name you can give, but now for now it's not required. Later we'll touch that point also. Okay. So that's all. This is how we will be creating the structure name. Okay. First we have to give the code. When we are giving the code, use all uppercase and use space. Instead of space, use underscore. Don't go with the space. Why just we have to go with the underscores and all? Because it's going to be code. This will be used in all the applications. That means it's a very critical, very key definition in the system. It's a very important. Out of entire our implementation, the primary object is and the definition is chart of accounts only. So what happens is, uh, I'll take simple example. Say here we are using this room. Okay. So end of the day, what you can find in this room? Chairs will remain all the time, not end of the day. Now also we have. End of the day means it will come later. That is end of the day. What we see in this room?
Empty.
Huh?
Empty.
Empty. We'll see. Something else we'll see. It will see as a dirty. Right? Dust will be formed. Reason? People. Of course, I am also in that. We'll get some dust and all. Then we'll clean it. Okay. So in this room, we have somebody who will be cleaning. In the same way, database also the same thing will happen. Why that the same thing will happen in the database? Data will be coming and going. Of course, data will come and stay there. Okay. When these kind of database operations are taking place, however, in this room, dust is getting formed because people are just coming and going, or just spending time here for practice, whatever. However, dust is getting formed in this room. In the same way, database, what it will be formed, the database will be forming is invalid objects. Here we are calling it dust, there they are calling as invalid objects. This is invalid objects only, right? For us also, dust is invalid objects. Okay, in the same way, in the database also, invalid objects will be formed. Okay, so for that reason, what we have to do is, if you keep some underscores and all, no invalid object can touch our chart of account structure and it cannot disturb. Okay, that means you are not giving some space. If you are not giving space, no invalid object can enter. For example, I'll leave the space. Between this space, some invalid objects can be entered. Something else. The database point of I am telling. Okay, just for your understanding, I am telling this way. Okay. So in that case, our structure, chart of account structure can be disturbed. If your structure is disturbed, means everything will get disturbed. That is the reason. Always when you are writing this, and generally this is an actual standard kind of practice which we use technically. Okay, when you are writing code and all, we'll keep underscore. It's always recommended. Reason is the backend, there is chance where the structure can be disturbed if you leave some space. Some invalid objects may disturb the structure. That is the reason we have to provide the underscores. Okay, follow the same practice. And the name we have to take, however it should be, and description optional you can take. View you no need to provide. Okay, done. We created structure name. Now what is the next step? We have to create the segments, right? So create segments. take the task name as create segments. You can save it. Okay, we created, so you can save it. Control S, or here we have save icon. Okay, we created structure. Now we are going to create the segments. To create the segments for the structure, click on segments tab. Click on segments tab. Click on segments tab. It will open the window where we can create the segments. How many segments we can create? I am asking the question, how many segments we can create? 30. That's it. One answer only. Okay, 30. But now we are going to create 4 or 5. Okay, we'll see that. Okay. So number I'm giving first segment. So let's take the first segment name as company. Okay, company. Use segment name as a company. Then tab out. Okay, tab out. See what happens. By tab out, the same name system is copying as window prompt. Window prompt is nothing but display name. When we are going to record the transactions, we will be selecting the companies, right? For that, field name should be there. So what should be the display name for the segment when you are recording the transaction? That we call as window prompt. When you are recording, once again I'll touch this point. For now, the simple point is this segment, how it should get displayed. See, for example, our segment name is company, and I am giving the display name as HCL company. Think nobody will change like this, but just for discussion I am changing. Now if you are going to record the transaction, your actual segment name is company, but display it will be showing as HCL company. Select HCL company, any one of the company will be selected. That's it. Okay, you're not changing. Okay, same will proceed. Now how many segments? 30, right? So this is going to be first segment, right? Select here the column field, select segment as a 1. Click on LOV. See here, you'll find 30 segments, but you don't see in the sequence. Okay, but because of that, we don't need to worry about it. All we have in this. Okay, see here we have 1, here we have 2, and 3 will be somewhere. 3, 4, but all we have, that is enough for us. Okay, so this is going to be first segment, segment 1. Select segment 1 and say OK. Select segment 1. These only we call as total. We can create 30 segments. Okay, these here you can see only 30. If you use segment 1 for the current segment, whatever you are creating company, the one cannot be used for other. Only one can be used one time for one segment creation. That is the reason that is limited to 31. Fine. Say OK. We created segment, then save it. Then company segment is ready. Just segment. Value sets and all we have to create later. Segment is ready. Now we'll create one more segment called as department. We take a simple example, right? Let's proceed with that. And again we'll be creating one more structure. At that time I'll explain detail level, general practice based on the company, based on the business, what are the segments we have to take, and what are the other key considerations we should have when we are creating the segment. Now I'm going to take you through with the basic definition of chart of accounts. Again we'll create the chart of accounts when you are creating the multi-org structure. At that time we'll discuss detail level. At that time we'll have 7 or 8 segments. What purpose also we'll discuss. Okay, right. So this is going to be second segment, say department. So window prompt automatically system will take the segment number is 2. Okay, directly you can type, you can write it, it will accept. If with the same name segment is existed in the LOV, it will accept. See, tab out, it will accept, because exactly the same segment is available, so it will accept. Or else go to LOV and select it, save it. Done. 2 segments we created. Let's create third segment as account. Account. Here segment name is 3. Segment number is 3. Say OK. Done. Fine. Then okay, let's go ahead with these three segments enough. Okay, three segments, and when we later I'll just will use 6 or 7 segments, 7 or 8 segments. At that time we'll have a detailed discussion. Yeah, for now, just to simplify our transaction process, I'm taking only three. Done. Okay, we created three segments. What is the next step? Already discussed. We have to create the value sets. We have three segments. For three segments, we'll go and create the three value sets. Say create value set. Next task is within the chart of account definition, create value sets. Okay. So to create the value sets, click on value sets tab. Click on value set tab. Now, three value sets we require. Okay. To create those three value sets, click on value set tab. Now give value set name. So here value set name, you can give the company name, nothing wrong. I'll give the name as HCL, this value set for say company. So I'll say HCL company. Done. Okay, see here we have different drop down options, different checkboxes and all. Okay, we'll come across all those, but not at a time now. So now how to create, basically we'll see when we are working on some other areas like security rules, we'll be touching this, and when you come here for security rule purpose, we'll be discussing. There's some other points also, dependent, independent, validation types, those we'll be discussing. But for now, let's target how to create the value set. That's it. Okay, so HCL company. Here, how many companies we want to enter under this, within this value set? Within this value set means under company segment, right? So this is going to be assigned to company. So under company. So how many companies you want to create? So simple here. If I give one, the meaning is it will allow us with only one digit. Within one digit, what is the maximum number? 9. That means only 9 companies you can create. If I give 2, max 2 characters numbers will allow. That means 99 companies you can create. And if I give 3, 999. Okay, let's give 4. You may not have those many companies to maintain unique format of the numbering. Okay, let's go with the 4. 4 means it will accept up to 9,990 companies, but here we may create the companies as a 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, something like that. Because other, when you look at account values, there will be a number of, right? There will be in thousands and lakhs also. So that is the reason. Just let's take 4, and so that we can maintain some unique format. See, simple point here I am going to give you why I am taking 4. Say for example, I'll have a companies only 2. In that case, if I give 1, okay, it will be 1. Okay, and I'm going to create some departments. I have a multiple departments, say in 2 digits. Department I'll be entering maybe 12. I have a number of accounts in lakhs. The account I may enter. This is the account. Do you find some unique format across the segment values? No, right? So to maintain some format, unique format, you may just keep this as, instead of giving one company name, you can take as a 1,000, or else take as 1 only. If you give 4, you can keep zeros and some format. For department also, if you give 4 zeros, that will be somewhat better in terms of maintaining the values in the format. So that is the purpose we can maintain. Generally based on the size of the values, whatever the client is going to have, accordingly will be created. Okay, if they have only 5 companies or 6 companies, we can go ahead with the 2-digit number. They have 5, 6 only, but 1 is enough, right? But 1 means when we are entering the values also, it will be just single value, right? Okay, don't looks good to select just simple values. So that is the reason you can go ahead with the 2. Even they have 1, 2 you can give. Then you may create the values as a 0, 1, 0, 2, 0, 3, or else if they are okay to create as a, instead of 0, 1, 10, 20, 30. Just it's all about giving the name in the system. But anyway, the company name will be writing in description. That's how we can write. But here simply I am going to take 4 for everything. But remember, when you are working for the client, we'll see how many companies they are going to have, how many departments, how many accounts. Based on that, we'll decide the size of the value set. The size of value set will decide based on the the values which they are going to maintain under a particular segment. I'll show you some real implementation related, how they created and how those are done. I'll show you the some few project related chart of accounts, then you can understand very easily. Okay. Okay, that we'll do in the real-time classes when we discuss. But for now, this is the point you have to understand. Done. I given 4. Fine. I given 4, but if I'm going to enter company as a 1, okay, my requirement is if I'm going to enter a company as a 1, system has to take maximum how many characters? 4. But I'm going to enter 1 means 1 digit. Remaining 3 digits also there, right? I want system to take automatically those as zeros. If I give 1, it should take 0001. If I give 10, 0010. If I give 20, same 0020. That's how it has to take. That is my requirement. Okay. So in that case, what I have to do is I have to enable this checkbox. Write, justify, and 0 fill number. See here they give an example also. If you give 1, it will fill with the 3. If you give 4, because our example also matching with that. If I keep like 3, if I enter 1, only 2 digits. Okay, that's it. And let's go with the 4. Okay, now we'll under this we'll be creating within this chart, within this value set we'll be creating company values, right? The company names whatever we'll be writing. This is for numbering purpose. This 4 we are taking for numbering purpose. For the number should have some name, right? The company code should have some name, the descriptive manner. The names you want to write how, that you can decide here. If you say uppercase only, if you enable it, whatever you write, it will be in the uppercase only. Okay, or else if you want to write only numbers, okay, numbers only means only you can enter numbers. Nobody will write the description in the numbers, right? Okay, the name numbers you can write in as a code, but not description. Nobody will write in the numbers, not required. Here format type. If you select, if you have a format as a character, it will accept numbers, alphanumeric, simple alphanumeric. These will discuss detail level. We'll touch again, no issues. Okay, done. That's all. And here just notice validation type is independent. Why it is independent and how it works we'll be discussing. Okay, again when you come to the screen next time. Fine, done. But notice by default system is taking the validation as independent. Let me give you a simple point here now itself. So simple, like when you are going to have a company values are not going to depend on any other values, right? Companies are independent values. Okay, it's a simple example. You are going to have some segments as a state and a city. In that case, state is maybe independent. If you are going to have multiple countries, definitely state also will be depend on countries. But if you are going to have segments, state and city, state is independent, but city will become dependent. Okay, so that kind of relations, the data we can maintain. But in the current case, companies all are independent. That is the reason validation type is independent. Okay, we'll see that we'll be creating dependent segments also. Okay, at that time we'll discuss. Done. So now you can save it. Control S. Done. We created a value set for company value set we created. Okay, done. Now we'll create one more value set for department. We'll create first 3 value sets, then we will go and assign to respective segments. Done. How to create one more? Just place cursor here, click on new. If you click on new, don't think it is getting deleted or removed. That is saved in the database. Temporarily in the system will refresh. This form will get refreshed to create new. Okay, it will remove from this form temporarily. Okay, place cursor here, click on new. Now you can create one more value set. Give name as HCL department. So let's give 4 maximum size and enable write, justify, and 0 fill numbers. Okay, then save it. And let's talk about one more point here. See here, 4 means 1 to 9,900 values user can enter. Okay, 1 to 9,999 values user can enter. But I have some rule. I want to set some rule. User should be allowed to enter the values between 1000 to 2000 only. In that case, I can say minimum value is 1000, maximum value is 2000. So what are the department numbers they are going to enter? The department number should be within 1000 and 2000. That's how you can set a condition also within that. Okay, so that nobody can enter before 1000 and after 1000. All the department numbers should be within the 1000 to 2000. That's how you can set it up if required. Okay, just for information I'm telling how it works. Okay, anyway, then save it. Take all the points. Then one more value set we have to create, that is account, right? How to create? Place cursor in value set name field, then click on new. If not new, use control down arrow. Use control down arrow. Control down arrow always will open the new record space. It can be horizontal or it can be in the entire form. Anything. Control down arrow. See here we have this record. I'm going to use hold control, use down arrow. It will refresh the record. It will remove temporarily here from here. Then you can create the third value set, that is HCL account. HCL account. Account always should be more than generally what we keep for companies departments. So I'm going to take 6. Okay. So minimum. Oh, sorry. This is enable right justify. Here, if you want to set any controls within that, you can set it up. Then save it. So for everything, system will default validation type as independent one. Okay. If there is any case where we need independent or something else, we'll discuss. We have a different validation types. Those we'll be discussing. Okay, when we come back to this form, because we'll come to this form for a different purposes, security rule and other cases. At that time, I'll be explaining. The reason is by the time you'll be getting some experience with this value set. So then that would be right time to understand very easiest way. So that is the reason I'll be talking about this that at that point of time. Okay, now I can start. I can start and I can explain. Yes, you can attend, but there may not be any use. Okay, so that is the reason. Just I'm not going to touch all the points. Let's go with the basic for now. Later we'll be just coming back to this form to discuss more information about it. Okay, done. So we created 3 segments. Segment value sets. Now say take the task. Assign value sets to segments. Assign value sets to segments. Create and save it. Assign value set to segments. How to do the task is very simple. Just we are on value set form. Close it. Now you can see segments window, right? So here we have field called as value set. Simply you can select from here. You can click on LOV and you can find out in the list, or else simply you can type HCL. Enough HCL, it will list out. Or else exactly if you want to select company only, yes, see, then it will select. For departments, HCL department. Account, HCL account. Done. Then save it. Company value set we are assigning to company segment. Department value set to department value set. Account value set to account segment. Then save it. After assigning the value set to segments, what is the next task we discussed? What is the next step? We have to assign flex field qualifiers to segments. We have to assign the flex field qualifiers to segments. Fine. So here mandatory 2 flex fields we have to assign, right? So for just see here, don't take any point, just notice and we will see the process, detailed process. See here we have a tab called as flex field qualifiers. If you click on that, you can see those 6 flex field qualifiers. Now which qualifier we have to assign to company? Balance. This we have to assign to company. How to assign? Just simply if you enable, it will get assigned. Before that, you should select which segment you want to assign this qualifier. So we want to assign to company, right? Take the process. How to assign? Say assign. Take this point also. Assign balancing segment flex field qualifier to company. Assign the action. What action we are going to do? Take it. Okay. Assign balancing segment flex field qualifier to company segment. Assign balancing segment flex fill qualifier to company segment. Okay, let's see how to do it. So if you want to assign balancing segment flex fill qualifier to company, first you have to select company segment. So select company segment, take each and every point, select balancing segment, select company segment, then click on flex fill qualifiers tab. Click on flex fill qualifiers tab, select company segment, then click on flex fill qualifiers tab. Now here, which segment you want to assign to company? Balancing. So enable balancing segment flex fill qualifier. Before you enable here, already you selected company, right? That means you are enabling, means you are assigning this qualifier to not balancing. You are assigning this qualifier to company segment. You should save it. Otherwise, this assignment won't remain. Okay, enable and save it, then it will get assigned. That's how we assign the any qualifier to any segment. Now you can tell me how to assign natural account to account segment. You tell me now how to assign. Select segment, account segment, then click on flex fill qualifiers, then enable natural account. You should save it. Over. That's it. These are mandatory, and let's assign other segment to department also. For department segment, we assign cost center segment flex fill qualifier. Just make a note. Anyway, we didn't discuss about why we are assigning the balancing natural account also. So when we are going to work on relevant process, I'll be explaining. So the same way for department also I'll explain. For now, you can say assign, take the point, but it's not that much mandatory. Okay, that much mandatory based on some conditional base. It is a mandatory, in which scenarios we'll be discussing in further sessions. Okay. So balancing natural accounts are mandatory. Since we have a segment called as department, generally we can use cost center. There is some advantage we can take out of that cost center segment flex fill qualifier if you assign to department. For that reason, I am going to assign. You can take the statement as assign cost center segment flex fill qualifier to department segment. Assign cost center segment flex fill qualifier to department. Assign cost center segment flex fill qualifier to department segment. Why we are assigning all these, we don't know as of now. We'll see that. We'll discuss detail level. We'll understand when these will impact on the transaction process, wherever it will come into the picture for reality. We'll discuss. Okay. Done. So here now what we have to do, to assign, select department segment, then click on flex fill qualifiers, enable cost center segment, then save it. Done. Okay, we created structure, we created segments and value sets. Value sets we assign to respective segments. Finally, we assign flex fill qualifiers, segments not. Flex fill qualifiers we assign to segments, not segments to flex fill qualifiers. That is also, that relation also very important. Okay, flex fill qualifiers will assign to segment. We never assign segments to flex fill qualifiers. Done. Then close this segments window. Any doubt, any confusion, please? Okay, just close this segments window. Now we'll be back to this structure definition window, right? Now what is the point we discussed? We have to freeze. We have to freeze and to compile. Okay, we have to freeze and compile the structure. What are the structure we create? What is the advantage? Okay, if you freeze the structure, see, if I lock the room, if I lock the door, What is the advantage? I can restrict the people to enter inside. The same way, if I freeze the structure, no one can go and do the updates. Okay, no one can go just enter inside to do the changes to our chart of account. That's it. To protect from updates, what users will try to do it. For that reason, we have to freeze it. That is the one reason. Other reason why we have to freeze. Generally, we already discussed. A calendar we created and we submitted to Concurrent Manager, right? For validation purpose. The same way, chart of account is a very important definition. The chart of account also we have to submit to Concurrent Manager. If you want to submit to Concurrent Manager, it is a mandatory first that should be freezed. The freezed structure only you can submit to the Concurrent Manager for validation with the task called as compile. We'll submit for compilation. Compile in the sense we'll request the Concurrent Manager to validate our structure. Why we have to submit here? What Concurrent Manager can validate? There is a standard rule, right? Minimum 2 segments and 2 qualifiers need to be assigned. Whether that is happened or not, Concurrent Manager can verify. If you don't have 2 segments, or else say you have 2 segments, but those 2 mandatory segments are not assigned to respective segment, you'll get a warning or error from Concurrent Manager saying that the standard rule is not satisfied. Okay, so that's how just the message you'll be getting from Concurrent Manager saying that the so and so qualifier assignment is missing. It is a mandatory that should be assigned to any one of the segment as per your business. Okay, that is the reason we have to compile the structure. Here see we have a tab called as compile. Directly you cannot compile. If it is locked, then only you can compile. Okay, after first you have to lock it, and that means you have to freeze it. Application term is freeze. Okay, so here what we have to freeze? Only our chart of account structure, right? So first you have to make sure that you selected whatever you created. Not anything you can select, you can freeze and do it, but not required for us, right? We have to select what are the structure we created, then enable freeze flexible definition checkbox. Please take it, do it. Okay, make a note. Select chart of account structure, enable checkbox called as freeze flexible definition. Freeze flexible definition means freeze chart of accounts. Once you enable the checkbox, then system will allow you to compile it. Before that, there is a message. See the meaning. Whatever you discuss, the same system is telling. Okay, we are trying to freeze it. If you freeze, you cannot do any modification. If you want to do any modifications before freezing, you can go and do it. Then you may freeze it. That is a message meaning. You can read and you can understand. Okay. Yes, we know that. Say okay. Okay, say okay. Now see, this tab is enabled. Tab is enabled. Earlier it was grayed out, right? Because there is a condition. If structure is freeze, then only that is eligible to submit for validation to compile. So just we enable this, then click on compile. Once you click on compile, the request will be submitted to Concurrent Manager for validation purpose. Now we can go to which window to see this? View, not window. I am asking. Navigation I am not asking. SRS window. Who are reading, they can answer. Who are attending, they cannot answer. Just click on compile. Compiling flexible definition. Say okay. It will just store all the information in the view from where you can see apart from the table. This is a view name. That not for now it's not important for us. We'll see that. Okay, say okay. You'll get pop-up. Just you can say accept with that system process. Now you can go to SRS window. There you can see as a Concurrent Manager is very busy working on our structure to validate it. You can click on refresh. Still manager will be busy to complete it because the big task for manager has to validate everything. Just click on refresh, so that this task, the manager, whatever the validation is doing, that will be completed as early as possible. Done. Complete. Now do you find some error or warning? No, because we created it properly. Okay, there is nothing wrong with our structure. For practice purpose also, you don't create wrong and you don't test it. Not required. Create how you have to create, that's enough. By doing that, we are not going to learning anything. We are driving into wrong path. Done. Structure is ready. Now what we have to do? We have to create the segment values. There are some other points also which we have to discuss at the structure level that I'll be touching based on the activity which we are going to do in the further sessions. Okay, so that it will be easy for you to understand. Okay, so the reason easily you can catch. So that's how I'll be doing. So now we have to create the segment values. Just make a note. Take the task as create segment values. Task name is create segment values. Take the navigation. Task name is create segment values. Okay. Okay, navigation is setup, financials, flex field key, values. Instead of selecting the function called as segments, we have to select values. Setup, financials, flex fields, key, values. Okay. So now how to create values? Where you have to create values? Let's take the navigation. Setup, financials, flex fields, key, values. Key values. Okay. So this is navigation. And now you tell me where we have to create values. Where we have to create values is not a big question. Where we have to create values means as per whatever we discuss, where we have to create or maintain values within the value sets. Value sets to maintain the values only. In other words, you can say we have to create the values for segments also. Simple, with the help of value set. That means we have to create the values for segments. Segments are part of
segment values.
Segments are part of chart of accounts. Chart of account is part of accounting flex field. Accounting flex field we have in GL. That means if you want to go to the navigation to create the segment values, this is the path we have to follow. We have to go to general ledger. In that we have to select accounting flex field. Within that we have to select our chart of accounts. Within that you have to select you want to create the values for which segment, then system will allow us to create. So here are there, if you are going somewhere, if you have to go to something Secunderabad, what you will do, there is, you have to follow first, you have to start from here on, you have to pass one by one, then we'll reach. In the same way here also, where we have to create accordingly, where those are there, how to go there to create, that's the practice we have to follow. There are some other shortcuts also where directly you can go and create the values in the value set also, that also we'll be discussing. But since we are learning, we should understand thoroughly how that can be done, how it generally works. Okay, so that's how we'll be creating the value set. Just give me 1 second. Please. Uh, Fine. From here, we'll continue tomorrow. Okay, next session we'll continue. We got some work and all. I have to leave now. Okay. Uh, 1 second.